Hey guys, how is everyone today? I am just trying to make this work. Here we go. While I'm trying to figure out my technical issues, please say your name and where you're tuning in from. And today we're going to talk about TV. So you may notice I have a Band-Aid on my chin, and it is from yesterday. I had a thermos when I was supposed to be doing the Facebook Live that actually had old ramen noodles in it from the bottom of my son's backpack, and I opened it and I couldn't really open it, and it created a vacuum. And anyway, I was leaning over it and it exploded into my chin and I got some stitches. So just know that I'm not wearing this Band-Aid for any other reason than to hide my stitches, but today we're here to talk about TV. So TV, is it a good or a bad habit? And so I guess the first question I have for you guys is, please put in the chat, how much TV do you watch a day? Now, most people think that they don't watch very much TV until they start actually like writing it down, right? Like journaling anything makes us realize and be aware of actually what we're spending our time on. But that was my cat coming in the door. We actually are, as Americans, an average watching TV maybe 4 to 8 hours a day. So that equates to like 50 hours a week. And that sounds insane, right? Like 50 hours a week is a crazy amount of time to spend watching TV, but it's totally true. This is Calliope. She's here with us. Hi, girl. But we are watching that much TV and really without realizing it. So it is a habit, and it is a bad habit, and it's a good habit if you can only watch a little bit of TV. But the issue with TV is that it's designed to sell you things, right? So it's very hard to turn off. I mean, there's a reason why in Netflix, they want you to watch multiple episodes. They even have the next episode, as you know, start immediately. Like, the whole idea is for you to spend a lot of time there and not to be able to turn it off, right? So why is TV bad for you? You may be thinking, it's the way I downshift, I deserve it, I work all day. And let me just explain. So the first thing is it wastes your time, right? So if you're spending 4 to 8 hours a day watching TV, it's very similar for your body as being asleep. So think about it, like, would you sleep 4 or 8 hours extra a day? And if you need to, then you probably should be sleeping that much. But truthfully, it also could be just that you're basically putting your body on this sort of like pause period, and you're missing out on your life, right? So in life, the only thing we have a scarce resource is time. You may be thinking, well, the scarce resource is money, but you can lose money and make money back. You can't lose time and make time back, right? So we're only here on this planet for one journey, and how do you want to spend it? And do you want to spend it numb in front of the television, or do you want to spend it connecting with others, or learning something new, or doing something cool you've never done before? Living, right? So it's kind of this idea of like, we're spending all this time and we're wasting all this time that we could be either advancing ourselves or connecting with our loved ones, right? Because the TV watching disrupts this ability for us to socialize and connect with those people that we love, even if it's just talking to them on the phone while you walk outside with your animal, or just take a stroll. Instead of that TV watching, that connection will actually make you feel better than the TV will make you feel. And that gets into my second reason for not watching TV, which is it's negative. So around COVID quarantine time, I actually turned my cable off. I just kept the streaming services, and I actually reduced my bill from something like $200 a month to under $75. And I went to Comcast with my box and brought it there. And like everyone at Comcast, they were like, put it over there. And there was this huge stack of TV boxes. So I wasn't the only person who was done with the news. But not watching the news actually really helps increase your overall set rate of happiness, because the news is negative. I mean, how often have you ever watched the news and felt better? Probably never, I can imagine. There's not that many good human interest stories, at least not anymore, that are positive for the brain. And the other thing that's negative about the news is it also gives us a lot of negative expectations, right? So like when we watch the news, or we watch a movie, or we watch a show, like, it's pretty unrealistic, right? The prince saves the princess, the you know, the bad guy is caught, you know, everything is, it's a movie or it's a show. So that's not how real life is, and it really sets us up for a lot of disappointment in our real life if we think that's how life is, right? And so if you think about that for kids, it's also setting up some unrealistic expectations for them. Now, even for body image, right? So like nobody looks like they do on television, and you know, that can really lead to a lot of problems of how we perceive ourselves and make ourselves feel really bad about ourselves when things don't work out the way they do on TV or things don't look the way they do on TV. So that's a second reason, is just the negativity from your inputs, and negativity just of expectations, and you know, feeling of inadequacy, because none of us are that way. And you know, I know that TV is super easy to do when you come home, but it always strikes me that what's the easiest thing to do is not always the best thing to do, right? Those things are not always the same. And so one of the things is, you know, is it relaxing? So biologically, it's actually not relaxing. So I work with a lot of clients on sleep, and one of the things we talk a lot about is this issue of, you know, what they're doing on their bedtime routine. I've talked to you guys about morning routine, but now I want to talk about bedtime routine. It's really important to have a bedtime routine, and normally you can still watch TV, but you make sure you watch it earlier in the night. I don't suggest watching it during dinner. Dinner's a great time to connect with the people in your house, but perhaps watching a little bit of TV after, and then stopping the show and having the ability to stop it and do something like take a bath or read. It's really important to have a power down hour before bed, a 1 hour block where you're not taking in technology, because the light from technology, social media, whatever, it keeps you awake. So even though it's passive, where reading is active, it actually stimulates your brain. Television does in a way that prohibits you having a good sleep cycle. So that's another reason, if you needed more reasons. And so what would you do instead? So let's say tonight you thought, okay, I'm not going to watch TV, I'm going to do something else. So what is the else, right? So in habit change methodology, all habit change methodology, we have a routine that might be working and then coming home from work, and then we have a trigger, and that might be the feeling of anxiety, needing to relax. And then we have the reward, and in this situation, it would be television. But it's really important to not have the reward be television if we want to not waste our time, right? We want to do a little bit more living and connecting. Think about what you can what you can get done in 50 hours if someone gave you 50 hours a week, right? So a side note is I always have clients tell me, well, I'd love to work with you, but I don't have enough time. And I always ask, well, how much TV are you watching? And usually the answer is like, well, I watch, 4 Netflix shows a night. Well, that's 4 hours you have. So you do have enough time. You're just spending it on something else, right? So back to this idea of what you do instead. So something you can do instead is you can sit at the table and have dinner with your family and actually have a conversation. I do this with my kids, and I ask them how their day went with a series of fun questions. You can always DM me if you want to know exactly what I asked them. And then you can take a walk, which is a great thing to do with your friends and family after dinner. Take a walk around your neighborhood or bike around your neighborhood, chat with a neighbor. Other things you can do is get ready for the next day. So you can sit in front of your computer even and, go through your schedule for the next day. I put out my kids' clothes and just organize the next day so that I can sleep peacefully and not have to worry the next morning. And then you can watch TV, but just limit it so that okay, I'm going to watch, one show, but I'm not going to binge to the next show. And something else to consider too is being mindful of what you're watching. So if you're gonna watch TV, right? So if you've just dedicated an hour and a half out for TV tonight, think about like a documentary or something you'd like to learn. It's amazing what good information there is out there. I'm a huge fan of the Gaia Network, GAIA, but there's tons of good content. It's just a question of choosing good content, right? Or just read a book, clean a closet, do something that really will relax you. I love baths, take a bath, and I promise you'll sleep better. So there's so many benefits to curbing TV watching and just being mindful. I think that's the most important. Why it's a bad habit is it keeps our happiness low because of the negativity, and it also wastes our time and we feel bad about ourselves. And I can't tell you how many clients I have that actually push their bedtime back because they're binge watching something and stay up till like 1 a.m. And then they're exhausted. So, you know, it disrupts your sleep habits and everything else. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll sign off and see you guys next Monday for a good habit. And let me know if you have any questions regarding TV watching or coaching, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.